All right, so this is kind of there's like several of these I'm going to tackle all at once. First one is getting back on track after being off track for a couple months. How to not derail after discouragement. So let's do those two together. First thing, how to get back on track after being off track for a few months. What I would encourage you to do is baby step your way back in. So if you were, say, doing the awesome point system in the community, what that would mean is all the habits that were 1 point habits, ones that you maybe felt at one point you were rocking, say 2 months ago, you were going for your walk, you were packing your food up, you were tracking, you were hitting a calorie deficit. Maybe all of these would have been 1 point uh goals for you because they were happening fairly consistently. You felt really good and confident with them. They are now not going to be 1 point anymore. They are going to be bumped down to 2 point habits and behaviors. What that means is these are now going to have to take some effort for you to move back up to 1 point. So, and this is why I always encourage you not to just drop the ball, like really know what habits you're having and focusing on, and make sure you know your minimums. Going back to our back to basics challenge that's coming up in September, know your minimums, stick to them, so that way you're not finding yourself having to restart the whole process again. You're not having to take things that were once super easy for you and bring them back up to being easy. So that would be a kind of like, if we're thinking long into the future way of doing it, is you find that threshold of what are some of the things I can make sure I do every day so I don't in fact find myself back here again. But if you are there right now for 2 months, you haven't done the things, you haven't been tracking, you haven't been counting any of your calories or points, you haven't been doing your exercise, you haven't been doing any of it. Start out with one thing each week and start building those habits back in. This week, maybe the goal, just tracking, not tracking for a calorie target, not trying to hit a point target, just tracking, or just going for the walk, or just putting vegetables on the meal plan. Whatever would be a basic for you that you were once doing really well, just focus on that one thing. The next week, repeat that one thing and add in another one. So this next week, now I'm not only going to be tracking, but now I'm also going to be taking a walk. So now I'm tracking everything I eat and I'm walking. I'm going to focus on those two habits. Where we run into problems when we go on these hiatuses is we think we should somehow jump to after 2 months of doing gosh knows what, we're supposed to jump to and be right back to where we were as if nothing ever happened, and we get frustrated with ourselves. Why am I not tracking at a deficit? Why am I not going for my daily walk? Why? Well, you haven't been doing it for 2 months. So those are not the habits. Those habits have not been nurtured. So don't expect that they will be there for you. You only get to keep the habits you nurture, the ones you pay attention to, the ones you take care of, the ones that you really focus on. So, what I would encourage you to be thinking about is baby stepping your way back in. Week one habit. Week two, that habit plus a new one. Week three, the first two habits plus a new one. By the end of the month, you'll have four of your habits back in. Pick the most influential habits, start with those. How to not derail after getting discouraged. So, what you want to think about discouraged is that is coming from more than likely unmet expectations. So, I don't meet too many people who get discouraged when they say, I thought I was going to gain 2 pounds this week. Look, I gained 2 pounds this week. Exactly what I thought. That is not that would not bring on discouragement. What would bring on discouragement, I thought I was gonna lose weight this week, but now I'm up 2 pounds and I didn't get the result I wanted. My expectations were not met. So thus I feel a sense of discouragement. So what I would encourage you to do if you're struggling with discouragement, in the community forums, there is a document called expectations and boundaries. It's a worksheet to deal with emotions. And what we want to start to do is, if you notice you're feeling discouraged, you keep thinking you're doing all the things, you're not getting your expectations met, is to begin to change your expectations, to start to either maybe lower your expectations or to take a no, having a no expectation, like I'm going to choose to walk, I'm going to choose to eat at a calorie deficit, I'm going to choose to do the actions. By the way, this is also why the awesome point system is good. You reward yourself for the actions, which you can control. You can't control outcomes. Everyone wants to control outcomes. They want to see X results on the scale. They want to see X results with their job. Like everybody wants to see something specific happen as a result of their choices. And that is not how the world works. You can choose to show up, you can choose to contribute to your goal in whatever way you're capable. And over time, that will be rewarded, but not in a ipso facto kind of way. I chose to eat at a calorie deficit this week. I expect this result. No, no, no. It doesn't work that way. It's not like a pro quo. You choose to do the exercise, you choose to eat right. Your body will release the weight as it chooses to. It will give you the result as it deems okay. And the reason you know this is how many times has your body checked in with you to say, "Hey, we're going to breathe approximately 1,081 times in this 24 cycle. Is that okay with you? Is it all right if we pump X amount of liters of blood today through your veins? Do you mind if we put out so much urine today? Are you good with this many potty breaks?" Like, your body doesn't ask you permission. It doesn't give you the agenda. It does its thing without consulting you. It doesn't care what you're thinking and or believing and what your expectations are. It's going to do its thing. You're going to do your thing. But what you know is that your thing over time will start to change the outcome over here. It will happen at the rate that it is intended to by your body. It's not going to check with you. So what you wanna do is when you're struggling with those expectations, when you're feeling that sense of discouragement, ask yourself, "What was I thinking was going to happen? And had I had the opposite belief, had I had a thought that was more in line with the actual outcome, how would I feel differently?" Most of us would never feel discouragement because we would say, "Well, wait a minute, that's what I was expecting to happen, and it happened. It's not a big deal." So really kind of analyze that. And again, do the worksheet, the expectations boundaries worksheet. There's also a webinar that goes with that. And that'll really help with that issue.